Welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Dr. Bob Lee from WBLS. Our next guest is a self-made millionaire, money, whose book, Schedule for Success, tells his story on how he got where he is today, and he will share those tips with us today. So please welcome Paul D. Jones.
All right, how are
Paul.
you, sir?
His hand feels like money, too. Money. Play that OJ's Money. Money. That's right. So what made you want to get involved in this? And you said, I'm broke, let me try to.
Well, yeah, one thing is when you grow up not having and you hear all the excuses that people make, and it's really from being a product of the environment.
Yeah.
If you grew up and no one around you know how to make money, then you have to start getting some different education.
Yeah.
So that's really what happened, and I just started my own business and worked from there.
So the problem is not how to make money, it's an idea problem. Is that right?
Well, once you get the idea, and it's the action.
The action.
And getting the right information so that you act on, because sometimes people don't have enough patience, so they don't schedule themselves.
Right.
They get an idea and they get impatient.
Yeah.
So therefore,
because nothing happens right away.
I wish it did, but it doesn't.
Plant that seed. You have to put on some gloves if you're going to do it. Get that shovel.
Fight the battle, get that elbow grease
going.
There you
go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep, you get that going and everything works right, and but it's really people getting a plan, sticking to it, getting the right foundation, the right education behind it, and then not being overwhelmed by just stuff.
Yeah. Now, you came from what background? You didn't have what you needed in life, right?
No, not at all. My mother's from Mississippi, so, and she's born in the 40s.
MISSI.
There you go.
That's one of the first big words we
learned. Big word. Quick later, hunchback eye. So
Supercalifragilistic.
There you go. So she's there, so that upbringing, that southern upbringing I got, and I understood, why they said yes, ma'am, and yes, sir, and I respect that.
Yeah.
But as we got older, I realized that it was certain things where she'd always tell me, it's like, you're going to make something of yourself.
There you go.
And I was like, okay, I hear you, mama, but I'm like, leave me alone. I just wanted to be a B-boy too,
Yeah.
And to be honest, I wanted, when I saw Run DMC, I was like, oh, that changes the world for me back then. But there you go, boy. I'm DMC. No. So, but it was a matter of, I used to shovel snow. I was always working. I was always moving. And I realized that a lot of the guys who unfortunately are locked up today that I even hung with, they were always on the grind, but it was not the right information. So once I got the right information, I just said, you know what, I got to go with it. Yeah. So that's where it's just a work ethic, and then going from there.
So then you have to get the knowledge of what to do, what to say, how to be, where to be.
Where to be. And number one, swallow pride.
Yes.
A lot of times people are afraid to go and ask for the right help. And so that's, literally how I made my first million was in the home business industry.
Yeah.
A guy walked up to me in the big mall of America. I'm from Minnesota. I live in Minneapolis now. And the guy walks up and hands me his car and says, "You want to make some real money, call me." And I just looked at him like he was plumb crazy, because that's not how you're showing how to make money. And some people can come up to you with some foolishness.
Right.
Well, this guy just happened to be real, but I worked at a record label then too. So we were just finishing up. Doing an in-store. Back then it was Sam Goody and Music Land, so we were just finishing.
Here in New York?
No, I was in Minneapolis.
It was Minneapolis.
Yep, up in the big mall. So we were just finishing that, and I got the backpack on. I'm walking out, getting all the flyers. I did the street promotions and stuff.
Right.
So a guy hands me the car, and I'm like, all right. Well, lo and behold, I had a desire to buy a house for my wife and my daughter, and that literally was it. So when someone was speaking to me about getting ahead, I listened, but I listened intensely. I was like serious about it. So I was like, at that moment in life, is when my daughter came in the world, we were in a small one-bedroom apartment. She slept on the couch because we didn't have time for the baby crib and all that. So, people look at where you are today, but I always have to take them back and say, no, we had to, it wasn't a budget. Some people say, I got to get a budget. There wasn't a budget. So how do you make it then? And I was already working, I worked at Taco Bell, I worked at the record label, people don't realize I was doing it. I had a business degree from Colorado, but I just had not applied life yet, because at the point.
So the budget was like scattered.
Oh, budget was scattered.
Let's paying bills, let's do this, do that.
School loans, the whole nine. So I had to go and do more. So that meant I had to get up earlier, I had to go to bed later, but I had to have the principles in order. So next thing you know, 2.5 years later, you got a nice little chunk of change in the bank, and people are looking at you saying you're lucky. And it was just like, it's like, no, actually I looked at my schedule, and I looked at all the appointments because my wife helped me keep the schedule because I'm not as organized. So I have to give my wife Nancy Jones. I give her her
Nancy Jones, all right.
all right. But she kept me scheduled and organized. You know, in the beginning, it was like her family was like, "What's he doing? He ain't going to work no more." You know, so you have to go through all of that. And I just
watch him, honey. He could be laying up on you.
I didn't have a car either. I drove her car, fellas. You know, but I gave her a BMW later for her birthday. So life is good.
You paid it back.
So I paid it back and then some. But from there, is I had to just take a different mindset. Then once that happened, then I just diversified and started investing in other ventures, starting other companies, and you know, some worked, some didn't work. But I didn't start to say I'm going to write books.
Right.
It was that after you hit such a certain point in life, people started saying, "Hey, can I buy you lunch? Can I buy you dinner?"
Right.
And I realized that if I had lunch and dinner with everybody that asked me, I would never have lunch and dinner with my wife and kids.
Right.
So therefore, I said, you know what? You know, advice from a few people, man, you should write this stuff down. You be saying, you should write it down. So that's what I did. My first book I did a few years ago called "Who Told You You Were Broke," because I realized that it was a spirit that people had when you tell them they got a talent and a gift. They say, "Oh, that's already out there. Somebody else done that," and they already walking around with a defeated spirit.
Right.
So we need to get rid of
the mindset.
Oh, it is a mindset, big
you
time.
got to get your mind right if you're going to gear yourself up to become
sir.
rich. You got to let all that other stuff go. Put it behind you.
If they can identify their self-worth, then they'll ultimately have a net worth.
Yeah.
Most people undervalue themselves, so therefore when the potential or the idea or the gift comes up, you know, if it doesn't work right off the bat, then they're done.
Right.
You know, I even talk about in the book when I read the story of water displacing, you know, where the chemist that did it, which is the guy that created WD-40, we know it is today, where they got the name because he got it right on the 40th attempt. And I get everyone to think, you know what, how many times have you done something and the first 4 or 5 times it didn't work, so you said this doesn't work.
Yeah. So but you think it's a failure, but
it's a failure.
It's a learning experience. Because
right.
you got to learn how to, you got to fail a little bit so that you can learn how to, you know, you can support what you're doing next.
He wrote everything down, which is also scheduling. So when you're documenting everything you're doing, you don't have to go back and repeat because you said, no, we did it this route. We know this route doesn't work, but let me add on. We got this far, so therefore now I can adjust the schedule and take it further.
Did you put some WD-40 in your book for the brain? WD-40 for the brain? Loosen things up?
You know, we need to, but as they was talking about earlier, Dr. Aaron Bernard, that's one of my mentors.
There
too.
you go.
Yeah, he comes to our home church back in Minnesota, so they can go to him for that.
So what are some of the secrets? How can we, I mean, a lot of it's in our schedule.
Yeah, it's in our schedule.
It's like a stripped transmission. It's not in gear right. So how do you get this thing in gear?
Number one, you have to identify what kind of life you want. Most people are accepting life by the way it's been handed. See, if you think about it, we're told when to show up to work. We're told when to take a break. We're told when we're done working, you know. But then when we get off, we have to deal with that schedule. But we never understand what we really wanted. So I always say, you know, the first day of school, everyone has an A. It's how you schedule yourself afterwards is what separates those who maintain the A and those who fail. Yeah.
So you decided to share your knowledge and teaching other people how to make this money and how to straighten out their schedule.
Well, one thing is, I really had a problem once you grow and you still have your roots to your home community. And you're going back home, and to me, I see myself as the same. But everybody else like, man, if I could be in your shoes, I'm like, but we drunk the same water.
Yeah.
You know, we ate the same food. I'm no better than anyone else.
We come from the same hood.
But here's so here's the information that I acted on. Now, I'll give you the information. It's up to you to take and receive the information, but more importantly, action.
What's next for you, and where can we get your book or more information?
They can go any major place where books are sold. They can get the book. I always tell them to skip the middleman and go straight to PaulieJones.com, which is PAULY Jones.com. They go to PaulieJones.com, then they'll get it. I'm also Facebook.com/Schedule for Success or any place, and they can connect me directly at Facebook.
Good. All right, we're going to wrap it up, but give me one secret for everybody watching us today and everybody here in the studio audience.
One thing is,
secret. This is just for us, right?
Just for us right here. Believe that you can do it. When you get that idea, you got the idea. act on it. Don't go by what the naysayers or those that doubt you do. Forget the negative people. Go positive. You will make it. Schedule it.
Look at the floor manager. You got his thumbs up like this.
Right.
Paul B. Jones.
Bless you.
Schedule for Success. Make sure you pick this up at a major bookstore near you. Go to Yahoo, all that stuff.
Amazon.
Amazon.
PaulieJones.com.
PaulieJones.com. Thank you so much, Paul.
All right. Thank you, sir.
We're all going to make a whole lot of money.